Hey Faye, it's Heaven, and today I'm gonna tell you how to become your fantasy self. This doesn't literally have to relate to the fantasy style in itself, but more so a version of you that you want to become, if that makes sense. Decorations are key. I think it's very important to immerse yourself in an environment that makes you feel good, or immerse yourself and decorate your room the way that you feel would be the coziest. You want to stay there, and it actually gives you like a spark of joy to be there, to feel cozy and comfortable and at home. It's always easier to become the version of yourself that you want to be when you're in a good environment. If you're in a harmful environment outside of your control, it can be really hard. I think decorations are so important because little trinkets, I think, are really important things to have around me because they make me so happy and make me happy to be in my room, make me happy to come home and just be here. That other version of me, that fantasy self, would decorate the room this way. I think there's still more to add, but I think you can relate your decorations to whatever character you want to be or character that you see yourself as. So for me, I am a fairy. So I want to be in my little cozy fairy den. I love the forest, so it's very much forest fantasy vibes in here, okay? That's what I love, and it makes me so happy to look around and see that other people can see it too if they walk into my room, you know? They can see that version of me, how I see myself. If you like mermaids, decorate your room with whatever kind of cove, underwater, cave, and home that you would live in. What are you drawn to? Fill your space with that, because it'll make such a big difference in your daily life if you have to be in these spaces. Make them beautiful, make them magical. I've talked about this before, but color palettes, they just make life easier, okay? If you want to get into creating a fantasy version of yourself and actually expressing that, or just the version of yourself that you wish that you were, having a color palette can just make it that much easier. And I know not everyone wants to be restricted to certain colors. You can still wear and decorate with whatever colors you want, you know? Your color palette could be the rainbow. Okay, you can have a lot of colors. The colors that I wear every day are typically green and brown. So people relate green to me. My friends and I will see the color green and be like, oh, that's you. The color green being oh, that's Heaven. But it'll just be so much easier for decision making for whatever decorations or outfits. Having a color palette is just going to make it that much easier because you need some type of structure, or else it's really hard. When the options are unlimited, it's just really difficult because you need some guidelines to get you started, you know? The one in, one out method. This is stemming from the minimalism rules, you know, one in, one out. So you don't have a million items. Because for me, I don't like having a million items. I don't. I do love trinkets and stuff, but I don't want so many things to where I'm not using a lot of it, or those things don't bring me joy to look at, you know? They're just kind of there taking up space. I hate that. So try the one in, one out method for your daily items that are kind of bland. They're kind of just meh to look at. If you're into that, that's fine. But for me, I'll have a little side dish. Replace that with some trinket that you found that can hold your jewelry, you know? Trade out one of your bland items for a unique thrifted item. It'll feel more magical, it'll feel more whimsy, and it'll just be nice if you have some type of bland item, just an item that you have to use every day and you got to look at it every day, just change it out. Go thrifting. Put that on your thrift list. Be I'm looking for this. This thing's a little boring. Let me look for a new dish, a new frame, you know? Get something that really speaks to you. It's so unique finding those things secondhand. It's so fun. For example, if there's stuff that needs to be held by your bedside table, you know, you don't have to use a regular dish. You can use a cabbage. This is one of my favorite finds. This cabbage holds all of my little squishy toys and stim toys, like charms. It's a little squishy Hello Kitty. How cute is she? Here's a little fidget cube. yeah, the video is not about this. I'm just gonna charms with symbolism. I love wearing symbols that resonate with me. Of course, there are symbols that relate to different religions and spiritual beliefs, but there are so many different symbols that resonate with people, like on a daily, simple things. Like I love the number 7. I love the star shape, the shape of a leaf. I love a leaf symbol, like little things like that. I think relating a symbol to yourself can have so much meaning and can do so much for you. And it's also nice when you resonate with some symbol and you decorate your vessel with that. If you love crystals, like find out how to make crystal charms to add to your bag or to add onto your jeans or your top if it has some straps or something, just to decorate your vessel with that is also so lovely. Just, you know, painting stars on my nails or something like that. It's just so nice to be able to say, like, I relate to this. I see myself in this. You love mushrooms. You love ladybugs. You know, if those things bring you joy, it's so simple and easy to draw a star in yourself, to paint flowers on your nails, or put on pretty makeup that has different symbols and shapes all on your face. Expressing ourselves in our outfits, okay? I do like to be more comfortable than not. So my clothing is mainly dictated by my comfort. I'm just gonna be picking out something green or brown, typically, you know? Like, I already have it set. I know how I see myself. And most of the time, like, people, like, that gets across to people. Like, they're like, oh, okay, nature vibe going on. Okay, maybe they won't fully see fairy because I don't got wings and pointy ears, but like people get the vibe for the most part, you know? We need to be more expressive with our outfits. It doesn't have to be super crazy, but there are other things that you can add to your outfit to become the character that you like. You can wear the elf ears. You can wear the deer antlers. I really want deer antlers. You can wear the mushroom hat. I want one of those. I also want one of those flower hats. It's like those felted hats that are like, they look like a flower and they have like the petals going out. Need that, love that, want that. Wear the frog purse. Wear the, you know what I mean? Make your everyday little bags or one in, one out for your jeans or something. Got a lot of jeans? Add some symbolism on that. Put a spiral on the pocket. Sew a ribbon to your top. There's so many little like DIYs to do. I've seen people bleach patterns on here, like you could do the sun, the moon. I could add some lace maybe to the shoulders, but there are so many different ways to express yourself in your outfits. Like, I just wish everyone would try to add a little more whimsy to their fit. Sometimes I'm like, I can't read who you are for this. I don't know who you are when I'm looking at you. You're mysterious, you know? And some people, it's all in the personality. I get it. But how do you see you? I want to see you. What traits does your fantasy self carry? Are they curious? Are they inquisitive? Are they extroverted, introverted? Are they helpful, empathetic? I mean, you can always pick bad personality traits, bad as like negative ones, sure. Maybe your fantasy self is kind of grumpy, but like, you know, normally it's not too chaotic to where it's evil. We can have a chaotic type of neutral or chaotic good. If the fantasy version of you is helpful, start acting on that. You know, if that fantasy version of you is extroverted, go out and try something new. Go to a party, go to an event. You don't even have to have like people to go with, you know? You can go to some art gallery or cafe, you know, just to get out, to experience and go on an adventure that your fantasy self would. You know, I think of myself as that version of me sometimes, and I have to kind of sit and be like, what would they do? And I know that the fantasy version of me is a curious person, is a curious little fairy. I ask so many questions. I do. I ask a lot of questions and I give a lot of commentary. I tend to be a yapper, and not at first exactly. That's where I'm starting to feel like I'm an ambivert now, maybe not an introvert anymore, just because like I have started to just, I'm not afraid to ask questions or look dumb. A lot of the time, like, I used to be so scared to ask any questions because I was like, I'm gonna look so stupid right now. Like, nobody's gonna ask this question. And at this point, like, I don't care. My birthday's next week. I'm about to be 24. I don't care about looking dumb at this point. Just ask the question. Just be curious. And that's what I tell myself is like, I might look dumb, but at least I know the answer now. Like, I needed to know that, you know? Like, a lot of the time, it's like, I needed to know this. I'm curious about this, or I'm curious about you. I'm curious about another person. It's helpful to stop and just say, like, what would the version of myself who I want to become, what would they do? What are they like? Create your own signature. I think you should have your own signature piece, whether that's jewelry. I love wearing the same jewelry like every day. When I find cool pieces, I like add on more. Like these have been add-ons. I love my crystal necklace, my fairy wing earrings, like same staple jewelry that I have every day. So find your own signature. What is something that your fantasy self, they're always going to have on them? You know exactly who that is by that item, if that makes sense. Like, for example, Chaperone, the red hair, okay? The red hair, that's a signature for her. When I get enough money and I can like dye my hair all the time, like night, like I think I just can't dye my hair myself. But I want to do streaks or like an ombre of green. I want to have green hair so bad. I can live with the brown. I love brown. But get your own signature. What kind of hairstyle does your fantasy self love to wear every day? You got 2 braids that you like to wear. You got space buns that you like to do. Do that every day. Do it every day. Make it your signature. Make that your signature. Make it known to other people. Like, this is how my character looks and this is the signature style that they have. I love a signature. I love a staple. Like, it's just so recognizable. Next is tattoos. Okay, tattoos to enhance your physical vessel though. Also, ooh, henna. Henna's beautiful. I love henna. If henna is part of your culture, you better rock that. You better rock that. I mean, even if it's not, I mean, of course, just be respectful. Everybody needs to be respectful about it though. I want to get a piece that will represent my character, but like that my character would have. I think it would be so cool if I get like an arm piece that has like ivy or like just leaves, some type of like leaves going around my arm, just so I can always have the earth like connected to me. I just love like forest and earthy symbolism. I just do. I resonate with it so much, which I think is kind of interesting because I'm a fire sign. I should have more fire symbolism. Like, okay, there's a sun back there. Sure. Leo sun. We love that. But I love the earth. I do. I'm a Capricorn ascending, so maybe that's where my earthiness just like comes in from. But getting pieces that like enhance your whole vessel, so cool. I've seen some indigenous tattoos that like where they have like the line down their chin and things like that. Ooh, they just look so cool. They look gorgeous. They look amazing. Looking into tattoos that have symbolism that resonate with your fantasy self, whatever you're connected to, get a cool arm piece of like scales. Like, why not? Actually, why do I feel like I would have seen that in like 2014 Tumblr or something? Imagine me with fairy wing tattoos on my back, like some fairy wings on my back. One day I'm gonna get that. One day I'm gonna get that. I mean, I almost fainted from this little tiny tattoo, but no matter, I'm gonna do it one day. But even henna to like just enhance or like create beautiful designs on your hands, on your arms. I've seen, oh my god, you know, it's so cute. I've seen people use henna to create little like paw pads on their fingers, the little like toe beans of cats, and they put it on their finger and they just have little henna paw pad. That's adorable. What activities does your fantasy self like? If you were your fantasy self, what would you like to do? What do you like doing? What are their aspirations? Do they like to sing? Do they like to dance? Like, are they a performer? Is your fantasy self like a performer, like a jester? Start doing shows. Start doing open mics, which I want to start doing low-key. I feel like my fantasy self also like sings and dances. I want to do that too. I want to become my full fantasy self because I know like the fantasy version of me is like I'm doing music. I'm also like singing, dancing. Like I want to act. I want to do it all. A triple threat. Maybe your fantasy self isn't like that. Maybe they're an artist who loves to paint, who loves to draw, who plays an instrument. I don't know what your original dreams were growing up, but it's worth the risk, especially now than later. Whatever activities your fantasy self wants to do, whatever they do, start it. Start doing it, because you can only get better. You cannot get worse. You cannot get worse at whatever activity you are aspiring towards. If your fantasy self is part of a club and loves to just be in a community, do that. If your fantasy self loves to read, join a book club. If you like to craft, there are like random like free craft activities at like usually like a local library or like a local activity center where they'll have crafts, or like free movies where you can meet people and have a community like that. So if your fantasy self is just a movie buff, go out, go to the cinema by yourself. Create a letterbox too. I created one recently. Give movie reviews. Like, do whatever your fantasy self wants to do. Start making those steps. Make those little baby steps. Why not? Becoming your fantasy self is just becoming the version of you that you have always dreamed of being. I think becoming your fantasy self is stepping into that and just decorating it, making your vessel whimsy and your environment whimsy and magical. Looking from another perspective of, hey, this is who I want to become, can really help in your daily life just to help you grow. Those are my tips on how to become your fantasy self. Thank you so much for watching.
Bronchitis. Whoa, hi, Hunky.
Not beef bronchitis. But I never had the education. Hola, funky kitita. Say hi. If you guys could comment on the fantasy self you're trying to become, because it's easier to know that other people are doing it too. Yeah, if you could comment that down below, that'd be sick. I love replying to comments. It's just really nice. It's fun. Anyway, hope that you have a great rest of your day, Faye. And I will fly with you later. Bye.